Hello, I am the President of the United States, Barack Obama. Today, we will continue to share the story of the second part of the three-body problem, Dark Forest. The original, Dark Forest, has 300,000 words, and I will share it with you in two parts. If you enjoy our story, please like, subscribe, and share our video with your friends. Now, let's begin the new adventure in the three-body world. The story of the Dark Forest begins with a dialogue on the gravestone of Yang Dong, witnessed by a malicious spirit. Luo Ji, who came to sweep the grave as a high school classmate, meets Yi Wenjie, who has come to bid farewell to his daughter. At the gravestone, Yi Wenjie tells Luo Ji about the two basic axioms and two important concepts in the cosmic society, completing the transition of power between the old and new generations. Meanwhile, in a conversation between Evans and the three-body people, humanity discovers that the three-body people lack deception and are transparent in their thinking. Due to the fear of human lies, they no longer trust Evans. This explains why the Proton did not reveal the Guqin plan to Evans at the end of the first part. 3 years later, Luo Ji, who just woke up from the night's rain, had forgotten the name of the woman beside him. Yes, our protagonist lives a life of romance every day. However, this peaceful life is soon disrupted by a car accident. While going downstairs for a meal, a car rushes towards them. Luo Ji narrowly escapes, but the woman accompanying him is hit and killed. Luo Ji, involved in the accident, is taken away by the police for investigation, led by the familiar retired soldier Shi Chan. They board a plane to a mysterious destination. During the flight, Luo Ji recalls a deeply romantic love story with the female protagonist in his novel. When the plane lands at the United Nations building, Luo Ji learns that he has been invited to attend a strategy meeting against the three-body people. The meeting reveals the crucial strategy of Wallfacer plan. To evade the Proton surveillance and exploit the three-body people's inability to deceive, the UN resolution designates a group of strategists, called Wallfacers, to independently develop plans without any external communication. These Wallfacers include Frederick Taylor, the former U.S. Secretary of Defense with rich anti-terrorism command experience, Manuel Rey Diaz, the current president of Venezuela, sanctioned for developing nuclear weapons, Bill Hines, a scientist nominated for the Nobel Prize in both categories for outstanding achievements in human brain structure and intellectual development, and Luo Ji, who is preparing to establish cosmic sociology under the guidance of Yi Wenjie. The Wallfacer plan raises the alert of the three-body people, and the ETO remnants convene a meeting to select 3 wallbreaker individuals. Luo Ji, however, is not designated as a wallbreaker. The reason is that he will directly confront the Lord. For Luo Ji, the only thing to do is to complete the mysterious mission left unfinished by Evans, assassinate Luo Ji. At the Wallfacer meeting, Luo Ji, who unexpectedly hears his name, repeatedly refuses this identity. However, from that moment on, all actions of the Wallfacers are regarded as part of the plan. When Luo Ji, troubled by his inability to get rid of the Wallfacer identity, angrily leaves the meeting, a bullet hits his chest, and he falls to the ground. Thus, the play ends. Oh, here we go again. In fact, Luo Ji's life is saved by a bulletproof vest. After recovering, Luo Ji decides to embrace the Wallfacer identity since he cannot escape it. He requests to be taken to a secluded place facing a lake, backed by snow-capped mountains. The ambassador promises Luo Ji to help him find the perfect girl from his novel in the real world. A few days later, the goddess arrives. Her name is Zhuang Yan, a graduate of the Central Academy of Fine Arts. From then on, let Zhuang Yan become the happiest girl in the world and part of the Wallfacer plan. To make Zhuang Yan happy, Luo Ji even accompanies her to visit the Louvre, where they fall in love in front of the Mona Lisa. Successfully recovering from the gunshot, Luo Ji, who has cheated death, forgets to thank the ambassador, who turns out to be suffering from leukemia due to radiation exposure during the capture of the three-body organization. With hopes pinned on future medical technology, the ambassador enters hibernation. In contrast to Luo Ji's recklessness, the other three wall-facers are actively advancing their plans. Reddy, who was making efforts to produce a giant nuclear bomb with a fluctuating yield, contracted a strange malady called sun nausea during a nuclear test. Due to the attack properties of the spherical lightning at close range, Taylor traveled around the world, trying to form a space kamikaze team for suicide attacks. However, he faced rejections everywhere, from Japan, China, to Afghanistan. On the other hand, Heinz, with the help of his wife Shan Huizi, focused on enhancing human intelligence. He aimed to achieve the human brain's evolution process that would originally take 2 million years in just 2 centuries by directly connecting the human brain to a computer. At this moment, Earth's efforts are not only limited to the wall-facer plan. Each country has formed its own space fleet. Zhang Beihai, the political commissar of the former Chinese Navy Tanhao aircraft carrier, is among the first members of the Chinese Space Force. Because of his firm victory-oriented ideology, he was appointed by the Central Committee to lead the Future Attacking Special Task Force, responsible for preventing possible defeatism in the future fleet. 5 years later, Luo Ji is enjoying an idyllic life with Xuan Yan in an Eden. They get married and have a child, living a peaceful and immortal life. However, this tranquility is shattered by the arrival of another wall-breaker, Taylor. He tells Luo Ji about his nightmare-like experiences. One day, a humble monk came to Taylor's underground residence, bringing him a devilish greeting. "Frederick Taylor, I am your wall-breaker." This wall-breaker heartlessly exposes Taylor's entire plan, namely the space pearl roasting. On the surface, Taylor wanted to form a space force with spherical lightning and red atomic nucleus fusion as the main weapons. He traveled the world, searching for the remnants of self-sacrifice spirit in human society. However, the true target of this space suicide squad is not the three-body people but the main Earth fleet. When the human fleet attacks, the suicide squad carrying quantum weapons will launch a suicidal attack on the human fleet. In the blue explosion, Taylor will have a ghostly quantum space force blocking the three-body fleet's inevitable route. The wall-breaker finally tells Taylor that even if his plan is successful, the Lord doesn't care about the quantum space fleet. The exposure of the plan and the contempt of the three-body people leave Taylor in complete despair. On the night he poured out his heart to Luo Ji, he committed suicide. Taylor by the lake fired a bullet to commit suicide. 3 people remain in the Silent Spring plan. Taylor's suicide prompted an emergency hearing by the PTC. At the meeting, Richies and Heinz each reported on the progress of their plans. Then the two chose to enter hibernation, waiting for the technological advancements of the calculation group to meet their plan's needs. At this time, Yi Wenxian also entered hibernation with her child. According to the United Nations investigation information, from the initial car accident to later consecutive shooting incidents, all were planned acts of assassination. This fully demonstrates the three-body people's fear of Luo Ji. The United Nations hopes that Luo Ji can set aside personal feelings, find out the reasons that make the three-body people fear and become their own wall-facer. Losing his wife and child, Luo Ji starts to shoulder the responsibilities of a wall-facer. Under the dim starry sky, Luo Ji walks on the frozen surface of the lake. He starts to ponder repeatedly, recalling the conversation with Yi Wenxian in front of the Undome's grave. There were 2 axioms. First, survival is the primary need of civilization, and second, civilizations continuously grow and expand, but the total mass of matter in the universe remains constant. He contemplates 2 essential concepts. First, the chain of suspicion. When 2 unfamiliar civilizations discover each other's existence, both are unable to determine the goodness or evilness of the other, leading to an infinite chain of mutual suspicion. Second, technological explosion. In the development process of any civilization, there is a possibility of a technological explosion leading to progress, allowing a weaker civilization to surpass a more advanced one in a short time. Just as he contemplates being stuck in a deadlock, the ice beneath Luo Ji's feet suddenly cracks, causing him to fall into the cold lake. In the seemingly space-like darkness, he seems to glimpse the truth of the universe. Climbing onto the lake's surface, escaping death, Luo Ji says to himself, "Wallfacer Luo Ji." The next day, Luo Ji leaves this dreamlike Eden and returns to an underground shelter in his homeland, formulating his Wallfacer plan. At the remote Planet Defense Rationality Council, Luo Ji reveals his plan, the Star Curse. The method is to amplify solar power and send a curse into outer space. The content consists of 3 diagrams, indicating the coordinates of a star outside the solar system. Just as everyone is puzzled by this plan, Luo Ji encounters a deadly and chaotic attack, a gene missile. This flu virus, designated to alter specific genes, instantly robs Luo Ji of his health. Amidst vomiting blood, Luo Ji is urgently placed into hibernation. Simultaneously with the emission of the curse, 10 small probes launched by the 3-body fleet rapidly approach Earth. 4 years later, Zhang Beihai, the captain of the future aerospace force, is also at the time to enter hibernation. However, he has a lingering matter to resolve. Clearly understanding the need for a starship fleet to use radiation propulsion for long-distance expeditions, Zhang Beihai is concerned about the old-school faction in the space system that vehemently advocates traditional rocket propulsion. To eliminate obstacles, Zhang Beihai, using self-made iron meteorite bullets, disguises a meteor shower in space and calmly assassinates 3 authoritative figures among the old-school space experts. This ensures the future fleet's research direction. Leading the future Aerospace Force Special Envoy team, Zhang Beihai enters hibernation, heading towards the future. 64 years later, 2 Wallfacers, Rishiaz and Heinz, are awakened. Upon waking, Heinz meets his daughter Shanshan Huizi. With 8 years of research results, Heinz, using a holographic simulation, brain imaging computer, makes a shocking discovery. With rigid thoughts, he finds that using a supercomputer to scan a specific neural point in the brain can record a pseudo-proposition in the test subject's brain, making them firmly believe in it. After intense controversy at the Space Defense Council, the Assembly ultimately agrees, under strict supervision, that Space Force members can voluntarily undergo rigorous monitoring. Shortly after, a group of Space Force members, firmly believing in humanity's inevitable victory, forms the rigid thinking faction. Satisfied with this result, the Heinz couple enters hibernation again. On the other side, Rishiaz's nuclear missile research achieves new results. Humanity has built the first star-class light bomb, successfully detonating it on the crystal surface. The rocks of the flying ship form a ring of stars on the crystal orbit, astonishing the world. Heads of various countries call to urge prompt sharing of nuclear bomb technology. Among numerous calls, there is an unexpected one from a psychological doctor claiming to treat Rishiaz with the non-existent ancient sun certificate. He is Rishiaz's wallbreaker. In the wallbreaker's narration, the truth behind Rishiaz's wallfacer plan is revealed, the Mercury into Sun plan. Contrary to the apparent fanaticism for nuclear weapons, Rishiaz doesn't intend to use nuclear bombs for any offensive. Instead, he aims to utilize the explosive power of millions of giant hydrogen bombs to slow down Mercury, causing it to leave its orbit and fall into the Sun. The stellar material generated by the impact will spew out, forming an atmosphere that continuously expands until it absorbs all major planets, including Earth, turning the entire solar system into a more terrifying territory than the 3-body system. Rishiaz hopes to use this to threaten the 3-body civilization into halting their evolution. However, the wallbreaker ultimately tells Rishiaz that, firstly, even if Earth's resources are exhausted, humanity cannot produce over 1 million star-class hydrogen bombs. Secondly, no matter how many hydrogen bombs there are, they won't slow down Mercury. Thus, the threat, like Taylor Ayers in the past, is inconsequential. Faced with the exposure of his plan, Rishiaz is ignited by the final disdain. He uncontrollably strangles the wall breaker until security intervenes. A few days later, at the meeting, Rishi's plan faces strong global opposition. He is to be tried in a military court for crimes against humanity. However, at this moment, Rishi's raises one hand towards the sky. Everyone notices a watch-like device on his wrist, the cradle system. It is a signal transmitter connected to Rishi's vital signs. Rishi's claims that its other end is connected to a nuclear bomb in the center of New York City. Like a baby's cradle, if Rishi's heart stops moving, the nuclear bomb baby on the other end will awaken, and the 8.2 million people in New York City will be buried with him. Rishi's boards a special plane back to his homeland. On the plane, he casually removes the transmitter from his wrist and hands it to the accompanying UN president. In reality, the so-called cradle system was just Rishi's escape rooms. Returning to his homeland, Rishi's extends his arms to his people, but countless stones of hatred greet him. People resent his secret plan, and the once wall-facer Rishi's is buried in a rain of anger stones. With this, only 2 wall-facers remain in the wall-facer plan. The story of the first half of The Dark Forest from the 3-body series is shared here today. We will continue with the rest of the thrilling story of The Dark Forest tomorrow. I am President Obama. If you enjoyed our story, please like, subscribe, and share our video with your friends. Thank you. We will continue to share a fascinating story with you every day. See you tomorrow.